Straight ahead on CCX News, a major makeover in Plymouth. Plans move forward to redevelop a prominent and vacant strip mall. Plus, it sure felt like early spring outside today, and that has local cities trying to plug up a problem. And later, a cost-effective way to get rid of stuff. It's something especially for retirees to think about. CCX News. Hello and thanks for joining us. After years of vacancy and blight, a Plymouth strip mall is on track to get a major overhaul.
Yeah, on Tuesday night, the City Council approved rezoning of the Four Seasons Mall at Highway 169 and Rockford Road. Reporter Sonia Goins has more on the plans.
This is about as vacant as it gets. The last time the Four Seasons Mall saw any foot traffic was back in 2012.
Very excited to see some movement.
Golden Valley-based Rock Hill Management wants to turn the 17-acre property into a spot where folks can live, work, and play. The project, called Agora, features many bells and whistles and includes senior housing.
Approximately 139 units of senior housing, which will be some independent living, some assisted and memory care.
2 hotels, a loft, and town place suites.
We obviously have a lot of businesses and commerce and manufacturing in that area that draws people in and out of town.
Retail shops, a bank, and at least 1 restaurant. But we won't know exactly what's coming in just yet.
A lot of the details are to be hashed out because they're still working on their marketing and their leasing agreements.
And there will be plenty of parking spaces for both shoppers and commuters.
The parking ramp is proposed to be 335, 340 spots.
This project has been a long time in the making, but city leaders say it'll be worth the wait once it's done.
It will increase the tax base. It will kind of bring to life that corner, which has not had any activity for some time.
It's not a done deal yet. The City Council will meet next Tuesday. They'll discuss financing, and they'll also decide whether or not to approve the development agreement. In Plymouth, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
If the project receives final approval, the developer wants to get to work right away. The goal is to have the development completed by 2018.
Brooklyn Center police are looking for one suspect after a man was shot overnight. Police were called to the parking lot of an apartment complex in the 6100 block of Beard Avenue. That's where a man had been shot. Police say he had a non-life-threatening gunshot wound and somehow knew the shooter. In addition to trying to find the shooter, Brooklyn Center police are trying to determine a motive.
The inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump takes place Friday, and taking part in providing security for the inaugural parade will be local Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies. 40 members of the Sheriff's Office departed this morning. This is the 4th consecutive presidential inauguration in which the Sheriff's Office has provided personnel. Well, state and community leaders are trying to tackle disparities in education and income among people of color.
Big disparities exist in the state, and a series of forums in Brooklyn Park aims to get people talking and working toward change.
We're hoping this is a resource. It's an opportunity for people to come aware, to try to make a difference in their communities or where they're working, in their work environment.
Over the next 15 to 20 years, Minnesota will see a huge demographic shift as baby boomers age out of the workforce. It could lead to a workforce shortage and negatively impact the economy if people aren't educated, trained, and ready to take on the jobs. It's why focusing in on education equity and closing the achievement gap is key to the years ahead.
Right now we have a really high overall workforce participation rate here in Minnesota and the Twin Cities, but for populations of color that's actually not so much the case. We have some of the biggest gaps in the state. So as we come upon this workforce shortage, we're hoping that this will provide more and more opportunities to bring more and more people into the workforce.
There's another forum being held next month at North Hennepin Community College that will zero in on employment opportunities and include a career fair for underrepresented populations.
Unseasonably warm conditions in the middle of January can bring smiles to the faces of any Minnesotan feeling the winter blues. But when temperatures warm up and then dip below freezing, it can wreak havoc on the roads. Driving on the roads after a January thaw can make for a relatively smooth ride. That is until you come across a spot where you have to drive over potholes that were hiding underneath layers of snow and ice.
You know, a bad stretch of road is not fun for anyone. It makes for a bumpy ride. We don't want people spilling their coffee. We don't want doing any tire damage or suspension damage.
Dan Ruiz says potholes aren't a huge problem in Brooklyn Park just yet. However, he knows that won't always be the case.
With any January thaw where we get above 32 degrees, we see the freeze-thaw cycle from daytime to nighttime, and that can spring potholes. So we are seeing some of that just start this year.
One of the trouble spots in need of attention is along 63rd Avenue.
Today we're patching potholes here with our cold mix. It's just kind of an easy fix for now until we can get hot mix in the springtime to officially smooth them over completely.
This two-man crew was working hard to stay on top of the problem before the potholes became a predicament.
I mean, these ones are big and all, but I don't think they're going to do any damage. But for now, we just want to cover up the holes, make it a little easier to drive for people.
Such is life in the world of street maintenance, where a temporary fix now will eventually require a more permanent fix later.
Once the ground starts to unfreeze, you'll start to see more holes in the road, and it'll start to break apart a little bit more.
Only Mother Nature knows just how bad the roads will look come springtime. Until then, the street maintenance crews will be proactive, while also hoping for an early end to winter.
In a good year, we might be done pothole patching by June. In a bad year, it may take us all the way to August or September before we do a full round of pothole patching.
This time of year, the city isn't actively hunting for potholes, but they are asking Brooklyn Park residents to report any they see. For more information on how to do that, you can go to our website at ccxmedia.org.
The Brooklyn Park Police Department is saying goodbye to a familiar face. Crime Prevention Coordinator Jerry Gibbs is retiring after 29 years with the force. Gibbs has worked with the city's 239 neighborhood crime watch groups and also coordinated the city's annual National Night Out gatherings. She says one of the best things about her job was working with residents to solve a problem.
We had one a number of years ago that became probably one of our biggest cases here in Brooklyn Park, as far as an entire neighborhood being terrorized by one family, and watching how the residents came together, but how we worked with them. It's been resolved for years, and I still to this day hear from all of those residents, and that was my most satisfying case.
A retirement party is being held this evening. That's Wednesday night for Jerry Gibbs, and it is open to the public. It starts at 6:30 in the Brooklyn Park City Council chambers.
Well, coming up, a topic many baby boomers may be wondering about: how to get rid of stuff. That's next in Money Savers.
And then a little bit later in sports, the Hopkins girls basketball team is dominating opponents this winter.
But first, a forecast that feels like March. Temperatures in the 40s on Thursday. Welcome back. Well, here's something to think about. 64% of retirees over age 50 say they plan to move.
And the process to downsize can be overwhelming, if not costly. Reporter Shannon Slatton shares some ideas to make downsizing cost less in today's Money Savers.
That's the whole meaning of life, isn't it? Trying to find a place for your stuff.
George Carlin can make you laugh about stuff.
I'll put some stuff over there. You put your stuff over there. I'm putting my stuff over here. Here's another place for your stuff. Hey, we got more places than we've got stuff. We're gonna have to buy more stuff.
But when it comes to parting with your own stuff, as these seniors can attest, sometimes it's not so easy.
It is overwhelming. You got to figure out where to start.
We couldn't bear to ever throw out any trophy or any picture.
So downsizing expert Amy Podine started off a session on downsizing with laughter from George Carlin.
Sometimes you've got to move. You got to get a bigger house. Why? Too much stuff. You've got to move all your stuff.
Before diving into the hard part.
It's mostly going to be the client who makes all the decisions anyway, so we just try to offer them resources and tips to do it, so that does help them save money.
She works for Sort Toss Pack, a company that helps people pare down. Podine is this month's featured speaker in the Don't It Make You Wonder series, sponsored by area cities and schools.
Sometimes people take 2 years to manage it and process all the decisions that come along with it, so it can be a very long and ongoing process. There's a lot of sentiment involved, so some hard decisions that they have to make.
Podine recommends beginning with a timeline.
Establish a timeline first, because then you can really outline your goals and the pace that you need to set with it.
Look for ways to save. Does your city have a free large item pickup day? What will charities accept, and what will you have to pay to remove? Then, if you want to sell some items, what's the best method? A consignment shop or a specialty buyer, or even an old-fashioned garage sale? All questions to consider.
The more of a knowledge-based decision you make, the more confidence you're going to have and less stress the process would be for you.
To give you an idea of just how timely the topic of downsizing is, more than 100 people pre-registered for today's session, making it one of the most popular informative sessions ever offered here at the Crystal Community Center.
It is hard to think about downsizing and getting rid of our treasures, but I have to say that once I got going on the process, it became easier and easier and easier.
In Crystal, Shannon Slatton, CCX News.
Coming up, a local fundraiser that will make your taste buds go wild.
But first, Maple Grove and Armstrong tangle in a top 10 boys basketball matchup. John Jacobson has the highlights next in sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. While Champlin Park seems a clear favorite in the North Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference in boys basketball, the West race features a lot of very good teams. That includes Tuesday night foes Armstrong and Maple Grove. A shot by Brad Davison is off, but a great foul by Tawan Pickford gives the Crimson a 14-8 lead. Davison doesn't miss here as he drains a three-pointer, putting Maple Grove up 20-9. Armstrong rallies. Isaiah Rollins' long pass to Calvin Green for the layup cuts Maple Grove's lead to 25-23. Then Race Thompson steps out and buries a three-pointer, and the Falcons are on top 30-27. Jack Hutchison answers with a three for the Crimson. It's 34 all at halftime. Maple Grove goes on to win 72-64. The Crimson is now 10-1. Also in the Northwest Suburban Conference, top-ranked Champlin Park remained unbeaten. They routed Elk River 92-47. McKinley Wright led all scorers with 22 points and also became the school's career leader in points with 1,392, breaking the previous record set by 2015 graduate and Mr. Basketball winner J.T. Gibson. In the girls' game, Maple Grove was one game ahead of Armstrong in the West Division of the Northwest Suburban Conference coming in. The Falcons with their third game in 4 days. It's all Maple Grove early, though. Katrina Tice drives and scores plus a foul. She scores 20 in the contest. Tice finds a cutting Autumn Malinar for the layup, and it's 13-5 Crimson as Armstrong struggles early. Skylar Dodge setting up Malinar for a three. She scores 17 in the first half, 22 total. Watch a tough shot. Abby Schulte here flipping it up and in off the glass. Maple Grove races out to a 41-18 halftime lead. And looks like this one's over, but Armstrong is a different team in the second half. Jordan Bloom with a three, and they're within 51-38. Masengo Matanda drives for a contested layup. She leads Armstrong with 16 points. They get as close as 11, but Maple Grove holds off the rally to win at 60-49. The Hopkins girls basketball team remains ranked number 1 in the state and for the most part unchallenged. It's a different team than last year's state Class 4A runner-up squad, but every bit as dangerous. Hopkins girls basketball team is winning by an average of nearly 28 points per game, with just one of their 17 wins coming by fewer than 13 points. Pretty good numbers, even for a program as good as this.
I'm pleasantly surprised at this point in time, but there's a lot of season left. You know, we have 9 games left and then these sections. And we've had really good years some years and didn't get out of the section. So we want to keep improving, want to keep focused, and start gearing up towards late February and March, because that's what it's all about.
The Royals had to replace 2 outstanding seniors from last season in Nia Holly and Ashley Bates. With those girls gone, the Royals needed a new identity. and a share-the-ball, team-first offensive philosophy has emerged.
I'm really thankful what we've become as a team, because it's not initially one person. We all contribute to the team in some possible way.
There's a lot of talent on this team, and it can be anyone's night, any given night, and we just all have to be ready and all contribute to have the best success that we can.
Freshman Paige Beckers is the Royals' next big thing. The guard is the team's top scorer and already has more than a dozen Division I basketball offers. This will be a tough team to stop as the Royals shoot for the top. The Royals' next game is Friday at Eden Prairie. Totino Grace senior Jared Florell will wrap up a great high school wrestling career in early March. He's featured on this week's Sports Jam show on CCX. Here's part of what you'll see.
He's just a tremendous leader. He's just he's always doing the extra. He's always doing the extra outside the season. He works hard in the room. He brings the kids around. Just an excellent leader. He's not afraid of hard work, and nobody's going to work harder than him.
That hard work has paid off for Jared in the form of over 150 career wins. It's not always easy in practice either. On this day, his practice partner is collegiate wrestler and former Grace High School All-American Lance Bennick. Bennick and Jared's brother Isaac, 2 grades older than Jared, helped mold him into an elite wrestler.
Him and Lance, we've all been wrestling with each other since I was about 5. So since I started wrestling, I've been around those guys, and guys like that really help push me and make me a better wrestler and a lot tougher, that's for sure, because there are times in the room where we be competing pretty hard with each other, and that just makes me a better competitor.
You can watch the rest of the Jared Florell story and more on Sports Jam. It's on through Wednesday at 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. on channels 12 and 799, or available anytime online at ccxmedia.org. Delane and Alex, back to you.
Thank you, John. Still ahead, dinner that's beyond the norm.
A wild game feast for a good cause when we come back.
Finally, tempting your taste buds with not your usual dinner time fare.
Coming up February 16th is the Brooklyn Park Rotary Club's Wild Game Dinner and Auction. You could say it's a wildly successful fundraiser. This will be its 32nd year, and you're looking at preparations for a former year. This year, the featured wild game is wood duck, but there will also be deer, buffalo, fish, and pheasant, as well as exotic meat such as alligator. Money raised helps support local nonprofits such as SEEP and Avenues for Homeless Youth. It also supports global initiatives.
We've built wells in countries where there's no water. We've helped donate a bus for transportation to the kids in Sasabing, Mexico. So all in all, yes, the funds that come from this enable us to do a lot of good things.
The Brooklyn Park Rotary Club Wild Game Dinner takes place again on February 16th at Edinburgh USA Golf Club. Tickets are $90, and you can contact Gina Smith at this number for more information. That's all the news for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
See you tomorrow.